Hello, everybody, and good night. So, I have been more practice on pivot tables because I think they're pretty important. And just to let you guys know how to solve these questions, I think a video is more useful. So, this is the practice quiz. And here I have 8 questions, which is a bit excessive for a quiz. You're not going to see that many questions on your quiz. Just for extra practice, here we have 8. So again, we have a data set. First step is to select our data. Go to the Insert tab and click on the table option. Press OK. This is the address of your table. Press OK, and here's your table saved and stored in Excel. So you can choose to change the name of your data set, or you can leave it as is. So let's go ahead and solve the questions. So we want to create a pivot table which shows the total revenue by region and sales method. And here's a bit of explanation of the steps that you need to do. Okay. So because I'm lazy for rest of them, I'm not gonna read the explanation, and I'm just gonna look at the table. So in your quiz, if your answer looks like the screenshot or if it looks like what the question statement wants, in both cases you are fine. Sometimes my screenshot is a bit different from the statement of the question. As long as you do one of them, you are fine. I'm not gonna subtract points for that. So let's go to the Insert tab and click on the pivot table. So make sure that the data you are using your basically storage table, which here we are calling it data set. And this time I want to put my table in a new worksheet. Okay. So this guy here in question 1 is what I want to replicate. So we have regions on the rows. We have sales methods on the columns, and we have sum of revenue on as the values. So sum of revenues is fine. Region column is sales method. Okay, a couple more things. So we want to have this as let's go to the home tab, and here is where you can format your numbers. If you remember, you want to change this to currency, and it already adds the decimal points. But if that didn't happen, this is where you can add or remove decimals to your data. So this is our question 1 solved. Let's move to question 2. Create a contingency table for product, sales, and region. And again, I'm gonna go to Insert tab, a pivot table. Let's put it in a new worksheet again. And I'm just gonna copy this guy to my sheet so I can replicate it. So, again, let's see here. I've forgotten to put on the titles. So we are creating a contingency table for items. Where are my items? Okay, so not items, products, and also regions. So on the rows, we have the products, and on the columns, we have the regions. Values are count of ID number. So, okay, there is a bit of difference. That is because in the table that we have created, we are looking at sum of ID numbers. We do not want to do that. To change this to count, I'm going to right click on this, and from the field settings, you want to change this sum to count. Okay, so that is all good. And we also want to create a pivot chart. So I'm going to click on my pivot table, go to pivot table, analyze, and click on a pivot chart. So when you do this on a Windows computer, it's going to prompt you to select your chart type. But here it doesn't do that. So I'm going to go to the design tab and change my chart type. I want to select 100% stack chart. And again, what I created here looks a bit different from the screenshot because of this kind of like the dynamic labels, which is fine. Mac doesn't do that, or at least I don't know it. I don't know how to do it. But when you do this on the lab computers, it will automatically do this. So do not worry about that. So question 2 solved. Okay, question 3. Create a frequency distribution of quantity sold. I'm lazy to read all the question statements, so feel free to do that yourself. We are creating a pivot table in a new worksheet. Let's copy this guy. So I have, no, okay, because I don't have this label here. I forgot what it was. I can go back to the question statement and read it. Of distribution of the quantity sold. So, um, I'm gonna drag quantity sold to the rows. Now it assigns one row to every quantity that I have in my label, in my table, but I don't want that. I want to put them in bins or intervals. So I'm gonna right click here and click on group. In the group, I want my first interval to start at 100, last one to end at 500, and the bin range to be 50. Okay, so it has my quantity sold in intervals. Now for the values, we have a count of quantity. So see, I am using quantity both on the rows and also as values. So we can totally do that. The next thing is to create a histogram. So I'm gonna go to insert. No, sorry, not insert. We are going to pivot table analyze, pivot chart. So it creates this column chart for us. But we're gonna click on one of these columns, make the gap 0 to make this look like a histogram. So done with question 3. Okay, question 4. Find the average cost per unit for each product. Okay, insert a pivot table in a new worksheet. And this is what we wanna create. Pivot table fields. I have product under rows, AirPod, iPad, iPhone, dot, dot, dot. And we have average average of cost per unit. Cost per unit. That is my values. And instead of sum, I want average. Yeah, there you go. So let me also reduce the number of decimals to 2 decimal points and change this to products. And this is question 4 solved. Okay, question 5. Monthly sales performance analysis. Create a pivot table to analyze quantity sold per month. Okay, let's see. Question 5. Let's copy this. So let's see, what do we have? We have date under rows. That is what I'm gonna do. See this plus sign? If we click, it's gonna expand. Now there's a tiny difference. Only month is expandable here. So to remove days, I can just drag it out. The other ones are also expand. For the values, we have sum of quantity. Quantity values are sum. Field settings, sum. And there you go. Let's make this month. Question 5 is solved. Okay, question 6. Visualizing revenue trends over time. So we have a trend line. Let's insert this guy and see what is this. So we are looking on the rows at date. More specifically, we are looking at months, and we have that. So I'm just gonna drag months here, and I'm looking at sum of revenue. It automatically adds up the revenue. This is good. Let's make this month or mint. So now I'm gonna go to pivot table analyze. Click on my data, go to pivot table analyze, click on pivot chart. And I need to change the chart type. Go to design, change chart type, and make this a trend line. Hello? Yes. Okay, all good. Question 6 is solved. Question 7. So we want revenue by product and region with sales method filter. Again, let's insert a pivot table. Okay, so products are on the rows, regions are on the columns. Sum of revenue is my values or my values. And we have a filter, which is sales method. So let's drag that here. And sales methods filter is set to only online stores. So I'm gonna unselect everything and only select online stores. Everything looks fine. So this is cool. This was question 6. And this was question 7 solved. Now, again, last question. Create a contingency table that shows the percent of total revenue by product. Click the table in a new worksheet. Let me just copy this guy and replicate. So we have product on the rows, region. The columns value is sum of revenue. Okay, and we are looking at this as a percent of total. So right click, field settings, and change this to the percent of grand total. Okay, and it matches exactly with the picture. Question 8 solved. Now, if I see another pivot table, I'm gonna throw up. So, thank you guys for listening. Bye.